Good evening, friends. Glad you could join me for Mystical Misfits meditation, the night version. I'm just cranking up the old engine here so that the notifications go out and people know that going live here. And I see my own. There we go. Um, so if you're just joining us for the first time from outside Omaha, we have had quite some, well, you've probably seen on the news, we've had quite a bit of flooding lately, and we have members of our own congregation who have been affected by that. Um, some are just simply stuck in Fremont. They can't get out, but they're high and dry, and others have actually had some pretty bad water damage to their homes as well. So during the intercessory part of the meditation tonight, I plan to pray for one of those families. It's public. I mean, they've asked to be on the prayer list. It's the Johnson family, Kim and Brad, and be praying for them during this difficult time. They have a couple feet of water in their house right now. So um, just a couple of things before we begin. As long as we're just kind of waiting for the meditation to begin. This morning I was kind of reflecting on where this kind of the background of this form of meditation comes from, and really it comes from one of the chief sources was the philosophy behind the Hebrew tabernacle in the book of Exodus, when they build this tent shrine out in the wilderness as they're making their way from Egypt to the promised land. And there are like these extensive chapters talking about giving instructions for how this is to be built, and as you go in for what kind of level of artistry needs to be applied to what kind of objects. And at the very back of really the far front of the tabernacle, there is a great curtain behind which is the Holy of Holies, where um, the Ark of the Covenant is housed, and God is thought to be literally enthroned invisibly above the Ark, with using the Ark as God's footstool. And whether you believe that God was actually enthroned there or not, though the interesting part of that tabernacle is that the idea was that as you got closer and closer to the Holy of Holies, the actual environment of the tabernacle became more holy. It's this concept of what they call contagious holiness, like you can just pick it up in the air almost. And so you wanted, but the meaning of the word holy does not simply mean like, pure and good-hearted or what have you. It actually means separated from or consecrated to. It's like set apart for a reason. And the idea is if you went, like for instance, to the Holy of Holies, which would have been the holiest of holy places you could ever go on earth, it was such a holy place, and you could catch it just by being in its presence, that you would be so fully consecrated to God and separated from the earthly reality that you couldn't survive unless you were properly prepared. And so as you went into the tent, this tabernacle, there are different places where basically there were signals to say, okay, hey, you're in a little more holy place, you're a little more holy place, and you want to just be extra surrendered and going to go through some rituals to make sure you can handle being in that presence. So as we go through this meditative practice, I found it actually that tabernacle is pretty interesting. Um, in my experience, it is best as you kind of go deeper into yourself to be increasingly surrendered. I don't think bad things happen, just that good things tend to happen more and more when we do that. And so I've tried kind of rushing into that God space, and you can do that at times. But it's far more, you more regularly get a sense of um, your kind of expansiveness of your thinking, um, maybe a sense of felt presence even, if you kind of take it one stage at a time and kind of gradually get in get into those waters, so to speak. So that's what we do. We do this timed 5 minutes meditation. There's different things you can do at each of one of these. I call them bow points, where I bow more deeply. Um, I kind of I'm following a set pattern here during Lent, so it kind of gets ingrained in us. But there's other things you can do with that time. You can also lengthen out those times. All of them or some of them. One thing that's kind of fun to do, you can try this on your own time, is when you get to one of those stages, where it's particularly important, you want to get some insight, lengthen it out to 10, 15 minutes, and set up a bell so it'll ring exactly 15 minutes after the other bell is rung, what have you, and pay attention to whatever was on your mind at that particular moment. That our subconscious is, our conscious mind can't track 10 minutes or 15 minutes very accurately. Maybe we can, get within a minute or so, but our subconscious mind can track that down to the fractions of seconds. And our subconscious tends to be closer, I think, kind of to the waters where the holy dwells. And so sometimes I think, if we allow it to, our subconscious, which is more connected to the realm of the divine and the possibility of communication, will throw up images or thoughts that just happen to correspond to when that bell goes off. And it doesn't work every single time, but I found it works regularly enough that I do that on a somewhat regular basis. I find that if you do it like every day, with that intent, these all practices kind of become corrupt if you try to manipulate, or you kind of think, here's the sure shot to experience God. So you kind of have to keep changing it up. But I do find that's a helpful one. Doing it about 10, even 20 minutes. I'm going to pay attention to whatever was on my mind, no matter how bizarre, and I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes contemplating whatever it was. So try it sometime. It's rather interesting what can happen, but you want to make sure it's exact, and when the count starts and when it's going to stop. Then let your subconscious do whatever it will. So anyway, glad to see you, Donna and Rebecca and Laura. Also on my personal page, I'm not sure if I don't know if I'm watching my, just going over the Darkwood Brew page here. It hasn't updated here. I'm trying to open more pages, so I'm not just being exclusively monitoring one page or another, but I've been getting a lot of folks on both the Darkwood Brew page and my personal page, and I don't want you to feel like I'm not acknowledging it. It really is. I really do. I'm very grateful for when people come on. Oh, there we go. Oh no, I'm still back on my. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, Demarelise Crispin. Nice to see you. Oh, you got even a meditative emoji. That's really good. Okay, maybe you get extra meditation points tonight. All right, well, let's start our meditation. So if you haven't done this with me before, I'm gonna set my timer. I use something called the Insight Timer, which is a free app in the Apple Store. I think there's an Android version. You can set bells for different times, and so I've set 4 bells to go off 5 minutes apart. And I'll give instructions for what we do during those times. So let's just take a deep breath in, let it out slowly. And in so doing, clear away whatever obstacles may be within you to being fully present here tonight. In God's presence, we recognize we're also in the presence of others who are live with us online, whose own connection to Spirit helps us as we are connected to them. I always picture myself bowing at the head. I may not physically do it, but just a nod to acknowledge that I'm in the presence of the holy, that I have intention to connect with the holy. And to serve the holy. Now let's simply look back over the last 24 hours in our lives, realizing that every moment is a gift. How many gifts can you name specifically in this last 24 hours? Especially where do you see where you've been touched by love? Any form of love coming from another person or through you to another person or a part of creation. Now we simply transition to looking to somebody who we care about who is struggling right now. Finding that source of struggle within us by analogy. Where's an empathetic channel where we can feel something of what they may feel, whether it be physical or mental, spiritual. And concentrate on allowing this holy healing energy that surrounds you at all times. It readily comes in when we let down our guards. We bow a bit more deeply to Spirit, allowing that healing to come into us until we can feel healing in ourselves. Then we call it once again to mind the person we are praying for. If you're a member of Countryside Church, you may want to consider anyway praying for the Johnson family whose house is presently flooded. Now let us gently set that person or those people aside, back of our consciousness, and let's focus on ourselves. You may want to take another breath in and let it out. Become more deeply surrendered. I picture myself on hands and knees, not groveling, but simply surrendered before God, a holiness that loves me more than I love me, cares about me more than I care about me, and is able to find my best path better than I can. Consider what you need right now. Perhaps you're facing a challenge, particularly tomorrow, this week. What are you challenged with that you can use some help with? Try to articulate that as precisely as possible. Then in the presence of holiness, just let your mind turn around that need. really let our needs go to the side. But I invite you to do something a little fun this evening. And what was that last thought that was on your mind just now when the bell rang? You remember? Take a few moments as we go into this last phase, this most fully surrendered place where holiness resides most fully within us. Let your thought tarry around whatever that last thought was. See if it leads you anyplace you didn't expect. Perhaps it will. If not, just focus on letting go, following your thoughts, and simply perhaps enjoying the presence just all around you, inside you, in your breath, the air touching your skin, underneath you. Just let go into all this holiness. Try tracing that one thought first. bring ourselves gently back to where we are with these folks who joined us online. And appreciate your joining us this evening. Thank you for helping me with my own meditation. I can tell there must be some experienced meditators online. It's when you dip your foot in the water, you realize you've just gone deeper than you normally do. You know, you're joining hearts with others who are going there too, and it's nice to sense that this community. Do this at 9 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays Central Time during Lent, and Monday through Friday 7 a.m. Central Time. So if you're an early riser, I look forward to seeing you then too. So thanks for joining me again. Have a wonderful evening and a great day tomorrow. Thanks.